Yeah, great. Thank you. That leads us into the whole idea of governance. It sounds like, and we know it is, an endeavor you're going to have to invest a significant amount of time and resources to get it right. So anybody who's running their budgets, CIO, CFO, whoever it might be responsible, what's the business case?
Yeah, and I think here is I think that one associates governance with bureaucracy. So I think that's maybe the closest word it had. Like, no, not another paper or another process that we need to have, or another bottleneck in the organization. And I would say the business case for AI governance can be summarized in two perspectives. And I'll start with the less fun one, which is kind of the more negatively associated, or that is, which is connecting to limiting risks and costs. So in limiting risks and costs, they can be looked into 4 points. It's by having governance of AI, you manage the challenge that you have with having lack of control. Because if you don't know exactly how your AI solution is being constituted of, how it's being used, you pose yourself for risks. Risks of it failing, risks of it not being relevant, not being representative in terms of data or the model use, of it creating unintended impact, being the risk that you need to shelve it with all the development resources that you put into it, going to waste, having it being an impact to the organization. It's also the inefficiencies. If you have lack of control and lack of governance of AI, it could be so that things across the organization are being developed in different silos that are more apt to be consolidated, or that you're procuring a digital solution that has been procured elsewhere. It's the inefficiencies between organizations and where you're maybe need to await other control functions to have moving forward towards deployment or utilizing the innovation opportunities with AI. Is also the liabilities that comes with utilizing technology within your business processes or organizational processes. If your business or process or digital solution creates a negative impact on people and society, there's a apparent risk of liability because your organization is still responsible for its conduct. And we see these liabilities also surfacing in upcoming regulation, like the EU AI Act, where you have risk of fines up to 7% of your annual turnover. And finally, the brand risk. We've seen good enough examples of organizations utilizing AI in an inappropriate way, giving a negative impact on the trust for the organization and the negative impact on the brand. So these are risks and costs to build control. But I think the direct business opportunities are even more fun to talk about, because these are direct business benefits of having governance of AI, and they are small. It dwarfs the investment towards the positive impact it will have by having governance. So one of the key points, and I can summarize these in 4 also, is that one of them is adapting to the world around us. I would say that this is not unique for AI, but any kind of business, understanding how the expectations and the rules of the game and the policy demands across the world is adapting around the world. Having governance of AI supports that keeping up to speed in terms of being aligned efficiently with what is demanded to be operating and having the license to operate. AI governance also supports informed accountability for non-technical executives. In the end, accountability structures will not change in organizations. You'll still have senior leaders being responsible for their business units and business operations. You'll still have the C-suite being overall responsible for the organization and in the end accountable. And being informed about how AI is being used and to what degree one can control and steer it to deliver still according to expected demands, it's critical. And governance supports that informed accountability. It's also well aligned with the point of creating confidence in AI. When we trust something, when we understand something, we can also we are actively putting effort into investing time and resources into it. And that is what is necessary, because that is what I've seen as one of the big holdbacks in wanting an organization to utilize and adopt AI at scale, is that it's not really trusting it. It does not really understand how to be able to find the value. On a superficial level, yes, but when we come down to details, there's a lack of it. And coming back to one point that I mentioned before about trust, I believe that AI governance builds digital trust. It builds the idea that we can use technology for its benefit, but also having good enough control so we can manage the deviations when they arise. And I think this is where one needs to differentiate it from most other software, because usually software has been developed and controlled or previously, and we've been able to trust it because it's being also quite static, while AI is by its nature constructed in such a way that it diverges over time, because data changes and data input changes. The models are either iteratively changing because it's continually being developed, or it loses its relevance. It kind of deteriorates over time. And of course, whenever we are utilizing an AI solution in a new context, it's completely different impact it may have. A facial recognition software utilized in a certain context has maybe minimal to no risk. I really like the function on my phone to confirm my own identity. While if we look upon utilizing public recognition in public spaces, it's a completely different question, and how that is being managed. And we need to be very contextual in building digital trust.
If I extend that a little, one of the things we've all been experienced with in IT is what we call shadow IT. Part of what you're going through there is, if we don't actually have good governance and ensure that there's a way to ensure that we bring this technology in, because it's everywhere, otherwise that's another cost. Otherwise people will go and find another way to do it, which may still impact the business in a negative fashion. So it's also will help prevent that shadow AI, as you might want to call it.
I've seen yes, the other day I read an article on that 50% of organizations are utilizing or have people within their organization utilizing generative AI solutions like ChatGPT or other types of AI solutions without any governance or control at all, because they see the value of it, but the organizations have not come to the point of creating relevant structures to be able to use it. So we see as it usually is, people find a way. And I think it's about kind of understanding the needs of people and your own coworkers, and rather facilitate that rather than trying to be too much of an hindrance.